This is the Advanced Selling Podcast.
I meditate. I light a candle I burn in the Northwest.
The aim of this podcast is to help business sales teams grow their business with modern strategies and philosophies. Now your hosts, Bill Caskey and Brian Neal.
This is probably a good topic that we've not spent a lot of time on. It kind of takes us out of the sales process itself, but a lot of pain. We're going to talk about hiring and recruiting sales talent. We're going to talk about it from both sides. We're going to talk about it from the salesperson side. So hopefully we don't have too many listeners that are unemployed salespeople, but perhaps we do, or perhaps we've got some people that are looking for another job.
Right.
What can salespeople do in an interview situation or when they're looking for their next sales job or sales opportunity?
That's good.
And probably more prevalent for us is what can hiring managers do when they're looking to find and attract talent? Mm-hmm. And I've found, I don't know about your clients, Bill, but mine, as we've come out of the recession, suddenly the pool is getting a little thinner. People are starting to land in jobs, so the pool of candidates is not as thick as it was a few months ago. And as the businesses are growing, we're needing more salespeople, more slots to fill. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about both sides of that today and have this kind of like a talent management.
Yeah, I think
discussion.
It's good. Because almost every client I have is looking for salespeople.
Yes.
But they're not just looking for average salespeople. They're looking for people who can come in and have an immediate impact. And so that's what sort of prompted this discussion today. Because we get calls all the time. I was on 2 calls last week. A friend of one of our clients calls, says, hey, I'm looking for a job. And I know they don't expect us to produce jobs for them, but a lot of times we get that call and they're fully not prepared to go out and work.
Right.
And so we're doing this sort of as a service to people who are looking for new jobs or unemployed jobs.
That's very good. Should we start there? Start for the person looking for a job? Let's do that, okay?
I think so.
So I've got 3 things written down here. Actually, they're typed into my iPhone. I'm now taking notes into my iPhone.
And I'm not looking.
Here's a pencil for you. From 1948. I'll go ahead and just do there. So if I'm looking for a job or I'm thinking about that next thing, here's some feedback, some input, some advice to that person. So the first thing is when you're looking for a job, your mentality has to be that you don't need a job. Because the moment that you are someone that needs a job, and I know this is hard because some people do. Some people have a family and they've lost a job or whatever. You've got to at some point get okay with the fact that you cannot go out with the mentality of I have to get or find a job.
Yep.
If you do, you're going to attract the wrong next thing and you likely won't be happy and won't be successful at it.
Yep.
So that's kind of number one, is I think you've got to stay in that mentality of I don't need a job. I've got to find something that fits me and fits them, and it's a really good two-way street thing.
I have nothing to add to that.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Anything? Do you have another one?
Yeah, it's perfect. I have a couple.
Oh, yeah, you can say one.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem.
I've got one, and that is, it seems like when we are selling, we will tap into our creative bones, but yet when we're looking for a job, we don't tap into those creative bones. And so the very thing that it's like a marketing person looking for a job and bragging about what a great marketing person they are, but they're not marketing themselves. And the same thing with selling yourself, and we use that term kind of loosely, but how are you demonstrating your value? Because really in the sales cycle, that's what selling is asking the prospect whether they have problems that you can fix and demonstrating your value in your case but yet most salespeople don't only demonstrate their value through a resume.
Very good.
And really I don't think a resume is a very good demonstrator of value because it looks the same as everybody else's.
Oh, I think resumes are great predictors of how well someone's going to be. About as good as your pencil.
Yeah,
it's like comparing your pencil to my iPhone.
Easy.
So, well, you got an iPhone too. You're good with the pencils. Hey, that is a really, really good one. I was listening to Mike and Mike in the morning on ESPN.com radio, and they had a player. I can't remember the guy's name who is in the NBA. This guy was really, really smart. And he's not a known player, but he's a free agent this year. And he was on yesterday with Mike and Mike in the morning. The guy was awesome. He just cut his dreadlocks off. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, it was Chris Paul.
Does he play for Toronto? Plays for Toronto.
He was on. He just talked about.
Was he?
Yeah, I think it was.
But so Mike Greenberg was talking about him this morning, saying how creative he is in the way he marketed himself through YouTube to get voted onto the All-Star team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he did some sort of personal digital media campaign to help him get onto the All-Star team. That apparently worked, I guess.
Beautiful.
Again, I may be screwing up the details, but great creativity there. That's what you're talking about, yeah. It's very good.
And so if you're looking, think about it. I know you get tired of hearing us talk about blogging and podcasting, but whatever it is, even if it's just a little YouTube channel where you talk to the camera about certain things that you're passionate about, that's good enough. I mean, it costs you no money to do, and yet when you now send a resume and say, if you'd like to see more about me, I've got a YouTube channel that you can partake of some of my insight on business.
You imagine if a sales candidate said, hey, I know we've got an interview set up for Tuesday. I'm going to send you a video link. I had a friend of mine who does video. Interview me.
No one does it.
Nobody.
Brian.
Scared
no one
to.
Does it.
Scared to.
It is.
Do you imagine how effective that would be on both sides? Even effective to say, you know what, I watched your video. It's not right for us.
Yeah.
See you later. Yeah. But boy, how much more do I know than the freaking white piece of paper with black ink on it?
Guys, if you're looking, or if you're thinking about in the next year or two, you're looking for something else.
Start on time.
Start building the portfolio. Okay.
We should just stop right there. That's really good. So that's really good, Bill. Just to add, so this is the last one on the salesperson's do, is be authentic and know yourself, which could come out in the video to say, here's what I am, here's what I'm not. Be okay being polarizing. Be okay saying I'm a $250,000 a year person, and just be okay with that. And don't worry about what people think about it, or if you're going to say the right things to get the job. That's not the point. Be yourself.
Perfect. Okay, let's go to hiring manager.
Talk to managers. Okay, this is an idea that came from a client that I think is really, really good, and it is to always, if you're a sales manager, always have a virtual bench right next to you. All right, so you always have your eye on people in the marketplace that are maybe in your space, or maybe they're adjacent to your space, or just people that you know that you are in constant contact with. When I mean constant contact, I'm talking maybe every month or so you have lunch or coffee, and you're just connected to. Then whenever a spot opens up, you've already got connection with that person. You can make a call and say, don't know if you'd be interested in this or not. Those are people that are high performers, not looking for jobs right now, that you can go tap into if, in fact, you do have a spot open.
And you're planting that seed,
seeds,
and they're starting to notice you and watch you. That's a great idea.
Yeah, no one does that either. No one has a virtual bench salesman. I shouldn't say no one. Most of them
don't. Yeah. No, that's a great idea for us too.
Yeah.
Here's one that is, I read I think I may have even mentioned this, Jim Collins, who wrote the book Good to Great.
Heard of him.
Was on an MSNBC little video clip at the bottom of their website. And he says, he goes around and speaks to companies, and he talks to hiring managers and sales managers, and he said it's amazing how many times he gets the question, well, how do I fire my people up? How do I motivate them? How do I kick them in the butt to get them out the door? He says, if you're asking yourself that question, you have the wrong people.
Ooh.
And no amount of motivation, incentive, contests, new websites, new iPhones, new whatever is going to do it. He says you have to test them up front, and we use a test, we call it ambition. He says you ought to be pulling your people back. You ought to be saying to your guy, look, Brian, you're really doing great. Let's hold off on contacting these next 5 prospects. We've got 10 people in the funnel. Let's work on them. If you're not working on holding people back, you've got the wrong people. Now, that's easier said than done, because you may be listening to this and you've got 25 people on your sales team, and 22 of them are not the right people. So obviously you're not going to fire them all. But one thing he says is test for ambition. And Chet Holmes, who does a lot of radio advertising, he's written a couple books.
That's good.
I like his stuff. He says, you should be testing for 3 things: ambition, empathy, curiosity. And if the sales professional that you bring into your company does not have all 3 of those at some degree, they're not going to be out prospecting for new business if they're not ambitious. If they're not curious, they're not going to have good chemistry with the prospect. And if they're not empathetic, they're not going to listen to the prospect and what they say and really be there for them. So I really like those 3 things. So as you look at people, pass them through that filter.
Yeah, that's very, very good. Do I have people that I have to hold back? And to the person I'm hiring, a guy that I'm probably going to have to hold back, or gal.
Yeah.
And then I test for ambition, curiosity, and empathy.
And in the interview process, I mean, I had a discussion a couple weeks ago, and this person may be listening, so sorry.
Okay.
But they did not ask me one question about client base, what we're doing, what our new vision is, what we're Not one thing. It was all about them. We're not trying to diss people who are looking, or we're just trying to help. And I just think the world has changed. It's not a resume world anymore. You're a free agent, and you've got to figure out a way to market yourself differently than all the other 99% of the people who have only resumes.
It's very good.